So before we start, can I pull a tarot card for you today? Is that all right?
Yes,
Awesome. Now, do you have a question you want to ask of the cards?
considering that this is for February 2024,
Mhm.
my question has to do with how can I continue to serve people in a way that it could make the greater impact,
Mhm.
but that it's
Mhm.
also not depleting.
Yeah. All right. Let's have a look.
I
Now, I'm
think that's a
using
question that everybody that is of service asks themselves every day.
how can I serve the best? Now, I'm using the two-tone tarot, so I'm going to show you this. It's all black and white. The whole thing is black and white. I have the shadow edition. There's also a light edition. It's a really cute little indie deck, and I love it. Do you read tarot yourself?
A little bit. I'm more of an intuitive reader
Mhm.
and channeler than a tarot reader.
Yep, that's fair. All right, let's have a look what the cards say for you. And I love it because you have very two-toned hair as well. So it's like the two-tone tarot for your two-toned hair.
Yeah,
It all
I have
matches in
yeah,
theme.
it's a birthmark. I come from a family of rainmakers. My grandmother's ancestors used to dance for the rain. We're very connected to the weather. And the mark of the rainmakers was a white streak in the hair, and I have it.
I love it. I love it. It's beautiful. So the Nine of Swords. Now,
Mm.
this card, I'm going to hold it up so you can have a little look. As I said, it's all in black and white. So it's kind of like negative imagery. So we have a person holding their hands over their head. There's nine swords in the background. Now, what this card traditionally mean, it can refer to things like nightmares, insomnia, anxiety, those sorts of things, right? Overthinking, worries, insecurities. That's kind of where it sits around. Okay. So you can sort of imagine someone that can't sleep because they're so worried about all the things that they're insecure of and they just don't know where to turn. Okay. So for you, what I would say is thinking like almost like putting yourself in the shoes of those people. That's who you can serve the best by addressing those specific problems. So problems that are keeping people up at night, problems that they can't stop their brain from focusing on. So teaching them or guiding them in a way that's going to help them break that cycle and focus on something that's going to bring them more calm and peace into their life. Okay. It's quite a lonely feeling as well. So people who need that community, they need people who understand what they're going through and can help guide them through it to find the rest and the peace that they need to find. Okay, so that's kind of the focus there. It's really honing in on those quiet, lonely, insecure moments that people have. How does that sort of feel for you?
Laughing here. I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, but it's on point. So today, I schedule my workshops for the next couple of months
Mm-hmm.
for my coven, my community, and the workshops all have to do with spiritual self-care, with dealing with anxiety, with using energy healing for peace, for grounding, for obstacle removal. And
Mm-hmm.
while I was posting them, because I asked my community, what would you like me to do for you for this year? And they were very specific about energy healing. I'm like, well, it's supposed to be a coven for witches, but okay, my background is in shamanism, so I'm happy to talk about energy healing anytime. It's one of my favorite things. And I was scheduling, I think he scheduled 6 or 8 workshops today. And every time that I was clicking event, it's been scheduled, I was wondering, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing what people actually needs? Is this what they actually wanted? Or did they just tell me that day that that's what they needed? So thank you for the card because it's so perfect.
Perfect. That is just validation. And tarot is amazing for that. So anyone listening as well, the tarot is amazing. The amount of people that I get that are like, oh, I've been worried about that. Oh, that tells me that it's the right thing. That's the confirmation I needed. That's the validation that I needed. So it's wonderful. Obviously, that says, yes, on the right path. Continue forward.
Right. Yes, every year I do a retreat and I usually get the clarity like months and months in advance. And this year I've been asking, what's my next retreat going to be? And it was very clear today has to be also about energy healing for peace and for manifestation and for just bringing people back to balance.
Mm-hmm.
And I was questioning it. So this definitely is the perfect card for today. So thank you. Thank you for the
You're
gift.
welcome. You're welcome.
I'm assuming you're a fire witch. Are you? Yes, right?
Well, look, candle magic is probably my favorite form. So yes, I'd probably associate most with that, or earth magic and herbal magic and green witchery.
Can I check your Mayan elements really quick?
Yes, please. I would love that.
What is your day of birth?
22nd of September, 1990.
According to the Mayan tradition, you're water.
Ooh.
Are you connected to water at all?
So I have a Scorpio moon.
They're completely separate from like traditional astrology, so it's like completely different. But one of the things that is very important to mention in here is that, so in Mayan astrology, what it does is that it gives you your superpower.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that are on Mayan astrology for you is healing. So it says healing, accomplishment, and knowing. So it's a very intuitive. So it's probably coming from the place of intuition. So there's a lot of different
100%.
knowing, like you just know and know and know, and nobody has to give you the data because you already know. Like,
and then even if you go into what's called human design, I'm a line 1-3, so knowledge is like a huge thing. Knowing, knowledge, and healing. Everything I do is to help people heal themselves.
Yeah. So like what is in your chart is healing, knowing, and accomplishing. So you define yourself by accomplishments. Just be careful with that, because that can make you type A.
Yep.
Overwork yourself.
Overwork 100%. My husband has to tell me constantly, he's like, can you tell your boss she's being a hard ass and to knock it off? And I'm like, I am my boss. He's like, exactly.
Right.
Working you too hard.
Right. Like, yeah. And then the knowing to just know, but also the healing. I think healing is very strong in your chart. I define myself in order to know. I measure the healing and accomplishment that I do to the world. I am guided by the power of abundance, and I'm a galactic activator of light. Bringing awareness and let's see. So one of your powers is enchantment, which is magic, but it's also timelessness. So I will say that if you haven't explored yet working with timelines, go on work with timeline healing, because timeline healing is going to come very strong to you.
Interesting. So I don't know if this would classify as timeline healing, but what I tend to do often is, especially when I'm feeling really good or something, like it's one of those moments that's really happy or something that I'm like, I wish I knew about that this was coming, I specifically sit in that moment and I send it back to my past self as like it's like, maybe this will come in as a dream, maybe this would have happened, and then it's going to affect how things have gone forward. Do you know what I mean? So I do that quite a lot. And then I also try and send it forward sometimes, like, don't forget this moment, remember this. And I try and push it to my future self so that old lady Hannah can have a dream one day and go, oh, I just had this beautiful dream of when I was 33 and watching the kids on the trampoline, you know?
Yes. So that will definitely classify as timeline healing. So on November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, we have the Ancestral Magic Summit that I am hosting, and my 2 classes, so the one on November 1st and 2nd, are for healing your ancestors through timeline healing. And basically what I'm teaching is a technique that is similar to what you're saying. So I'm going to be teaching people how to find a moment of joy or happiness and expand that into the past, distribute that into the present line of their ancestors, and then into the future. And then we're going to play a little bit with multiple dimensions. So join if it calls you. Cool. But it is one of the techniques for shamanism. It's like you're jumping through loops of time and you're weaving energy and frequencies to go change your reality, because we have the ability to change our past so that our path opens up.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it, you know, pushing it back to past me, and then things may have changed, even if I remember my past, right? But I do believe even the past is changeable as well as the future.
Yes.
Same. And I learned a little bit about this with therapy even. So I did EMDR, so rapid eye movement therapy. I don't know if you've heard of that. I did that to work through some birth trauma that I had, and with my own giving birth to my son and my daughter, and it brought up some other things from the past as well. So when we were doing that, which is basically just taking away the the sensitivity around an event. What I actually did, and I didn't tell the therapist, I just was like, I'm just going to run with this idea. I reimagined the event the way I wanted it to go. And then that's the only way I imagined it from there. And I was like, okay, this is just changing that memory, which changes, in my view, I was sort of putting a lot of power in that new memory and standing up for myself or whatever it was that I had to do. And then I'm like, okay, that's now going to change here and now and this reality. So I view it.
It changes the chemical composition of the moment.
Mm.
So the damage changes because your brain starts recreating the story in a different perspective.
Mm.
So my friend Chris that I was telling you, one of the techniques that he does is that the rapid eye movement.
Mm-hmm.
He was telling me the power of it. He was talking about it a lot.
It's amazing. We went from, in just one session, when I thought of this particular moment, like all these feelings came, I could feel it in my body. And by the end of it, which was literally just thinking about the moment and watching this ball go across the screen, after like 20 minutes, when I brought it up, it went from like a 8 out of 10 on the discomfort to like a 2 out of 10 in one session. I was like, that's phenomenal. So definitely magic in that.
Yes, absolutely.